two.
I already started it.
One, too bad. All right. Hi guys, I'm Eleanor Cooley, and today I'm going to talk to you about the Oxyura jamaichensis, otherwise known as the ruddy duck. So, some basic information. Ruddy ducks are found in North America, the United States, Central Canada, and Mexico, and are actually considered an invasive species in Europe, specifically the United Kingdom. Another thing about ruddy ducks is the genus Oxyura means stiff-tailed. So as you can see in this photo right here, it has stiff tail connected to the compact body, and actually under the water, ruddy ducks have really big webbed feet that are closer to the back of the body to help when diving. And it makes it really awkward when flying and walking on land. So ruddy ducks particularly just like to stay in their freshwater wetlands. So going off of that diving part about the legs, stiff-tailed ducks, like the ruddy duck, are considered diving ducks, meaning they can dive farther and longer than other ducks and waterfowl. Part of that is the body, which I showed before, the compact body, and the tail helps it dive farther, but also its high tolerance for asphyxia and its anaerobic metabolism. So the anaerobic metabolism and high tolerance for asphyxia are related to the respiratory system. You may not know, birds have 9 air sacs. Some actually have 8, but the ruddy duck has 9. And they're separated into 2 different groups, the anterior air sacs and the posterior air sacs. In the anterior air sac group, you have the interclavicular air sac that surrounds the syrinx. And then in the posterior air sac group, you have abdominal air sacs and posterior thoracic air sacs. So what these do when inhaling oxygen is oxygen goes into the posterior air sacs first, and then when exhaling, they go up to the bronchial tubes in the lungs. And then during a second inhale and exhale, that oxygen in the bronchial tubes in the lungs move out from the trachea and out, and the cycle continues. It has a unidirectional flow, and basically some consider this type of system to be better than a human respiratory system because it has a consistent intake of oxygen, rich oxygen. So going off of that, it helps with flying, and it also has it intakes or absorbs more oxygen into the body when diving. Ducks have an initial 52% buoyancy when diving, the ruddy duck, and so when it starts its dive, special receptors in the nostrils or nares connect to the central nervous system and sensory organs. And not only does heart rate and blood flow reduce its speed, but oxygen is sparingly provided to skeletal muscles, amongst other organs that are important when diving. Going into, I guess, the anaerobic metabolism, since oxygen can be stored in the body, but not enough for it to completely function for as long as possible, the anaerobic metabolism is enacted, and cellular respiration occurs. So now that we've kind of gone through that, I'm going to use this information and talk about ruddy duck populations in the northern prairie pothole region. So during breeding season, which is May through August, ruddy ducks amongst other waterfowl will travel up to the Midwest of the United States and also central Canada and inhabit freshwater wetland areas. Specifically, I got some of my information from a study taken in Minnesota and also Manitoba, Canada. It's basically about the ruddy duck and a couple other birds, such as the canvasback, lesser scaup, red-necked duck, and the redhead duck, all breeding in this area and foraging for vegetation and invertebrate in the fresh water sources. Female ducks, while this is occurring, are nesting. So that leaves the male ducks to find food for their mate and themselves to survive. So going down to this part, which is it shows the dive frequencies in different potholes for each duck. The study found that lesser scaup, another duck, was correlated to the ruddy duck, meaning they were both in the same potholes or contours. I'm going to provide some examples for dive frequencies. In contour 2, right here, the lesser scaup had a dive frequency of 12, while the ruddy duck had a dive frequency of 31. In another contour 1, in a different area, the lesser scaup had a 13 dive frequency, while the ruddy duck had a 25. So this evidence here supports that the ruddy duck's high tolerance for asphyxia and unique anaerobic metabolism helps it outcompete other birds, specifically the lesser scaup, when foraging for food. So coming over here, I have an infographic showing the same thing. This is the lesser scaup. They're both in the same areas. And actually amongst other ducks as well, the ruddy duck has probably the highest frequencies. And yes, any questions?
Yeah, so like, where in the U.S. can you find the ruddy duck? Like, is it in like just some states or in some areas?
Mostly on the coasts. So, and I guess again, like water sources, but, so you have them up here during breeding season in the Midwest, but also you can find them actually in the Bay Area. Go to your local freshwater source and maybe you can find a ruddy duck. During breeding season, like I said, which is May and August, male ruddy ducks actually have a blue beak. So if you find a duck with a blue beak and like kind of a auburn feathers, that might be a ruddy duck. So yeah, any other questions?
Could you repeat the conclusion for me?
Oh, yeah. So my conclusion was basically due to the ruddy duck's ability, high tolerance of asphyxia and unique anaerobic metabolism, ruddy ducks can outcompete other species, specifically the lesser scaup, when foraging for food in the northern prairie region. So yeah.